Hi, thank you so much for joining us today and hosting this workshop. Feel free to start whenever you're ready. I think you should have the ability to share your screen if need. And yeah,
Yeah, sounds good. Let me share my screen. So we're not waiting anyone. Looks like we have quite a people. Okay, let's start. Can you see my screen?
yep.
Okay, so welcome everyone to our workshop. This workshop is going to be about web dev tools, and we're going to work on web tools, useful web tools that I personally use on my day-to-day basis. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Pavel Tyrenin. I'm a software engineer with more than 12 years of experience. I work in company Juniper Square, and in my career, I work in companies such as Realtor.com and TrustArc and many others. I mostly work focused on front-end side of web development, but sometimes I work as a full stack and architect designer, system design, and stuff like this. So today we're gonna look closely at DevTools. So most of you familiar with what the DevTools are. You usually open it to inspect element, to see styles, to debug some JavaScript, but DevTools have so many features. It's sometimes difficult to track all of them. So I I will tell you about web tools, useful web tools that I use. Maybe you know some of them, but I hope some of them will be new to you, and you will find something useful from this meeting. So I split DevTools that I'm gonna look at to two sections. First section is layout tools or UI tools. These tools such as design mode, animation timeline, flexbox helper, shadow box helper, Bezier curve editor. So this is tools that help to debug, test UI and layout of your application. And the second section is tool for code debugging and performance optimization. It's tools like sensor, paint, flash chain, frame rate, stats, lighthouse tool, capture screenshot and network tab, throttling network, performance insights, and memory profile. Okay, so most of the modern web browsers, they have these tools in maybe they can look a little bit different, but most of them have all the tools I'm gonna show. But we're gonna focus on Chrome tool. Why on Chrome browser? Why Chrome browser? Because it has Chromium engine, which is native for Chrome browser, and this Chromium engine used in many other browsers such as Opera, even Microsoft Edge based on Chromium engine, and so on. And also, if we take a look at browser market share, Chrome takes 65% of usage of all the browsers. So which is pretty high number. On second place is Safari. Safari uses a different engine, but it has some similar tools. So you can find some tools that we're gonna look at in Chrome. I'm sure you can find it in Safari. Edge, as I said, it uses Chromium engine, so some tools will be similar. Firefox has also different engine in its core, but it adapts best practices of Chromium engine. So it looks on developing Chromium engine and reuses some dev tools, some features of the Chromium engine. So that's why we're gonna take a look Chrome. We will take Chrome as an example in our meeting. So first tool we're gonna look at, it's design mode. So let's take an example. So let me do this. Okay, this is my website. To open DevTools, I can just go inspect element, or I can press option Control J to open DevTools. Let's do this. Option Command J. So to sorry. What did I open? If you need to search for a specific feature, there is you can press 3 dots and select Run Command, or you can use Command Shift P command on DevTools to open command line. And for example, if you want to open console, you can just type console and press enter, and you open console. Console is, it's for JavaScript. You can use JavaScript in the browser. So let's take a look at design mode. This is document.design mode. We can take sorry, can I refresh it? By default, it should be off. Yeah, document design mode. We can take a look at the value. Right now, it's off. It's off by default. So as you see, this is my website, and I cannot edit anything on the website, but we can switch this mode to on. And what happens now? I can edit anything on the website as its text editor. Why do we need this design mode option? We can test some UI decision or layout decision. For example, what happens if my name would be too long? As we can see, like long name breaks this website layout. So this design mode is very useful feature to track some issues in the web page like this. You can also copy paste images just to see how your website gonna look with multiple images. You can move icons around. So this is pretty useful for designers and for UI developers to test their website with different values. Okay, let's take a look at another next tool would be animation timeline. So I have an example website. This is animation of the text. For example, this animation or this animation. Rubber band animation is pretty good for to look as an example. Let's open animation, show animation, and here we have animation timeline. Let's launch our animation. And we have this animation timeline right here. We can take this like on timeline, we can forward and backward, play backward and forward animation. We can also slow down it to 25% or even 10% to take a look how animation exactly works, what's going on during all phases of the animation. Also, we can add some delay. For example, we want this to be delayed, and when we press next time, let's do 500 milliseconds. When we press, it waits 500 milliseconds and then plays the animation. We can slow down. We can make animation shorter. So right now it takes 1 second to do all phases of the animation. We can make it twice shorter. twice faster, or opposite, we can make it longer. Hello, sorry, looks like my Zoom has crashed. Can you see me? At what point it's crashed? Did we take a look at animation? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, so I guess we stopped at animation. Let's open animation again. Let's do this animation and analyze it. So as I said, you can make it shorter, you can make it longer. You can also edit some section of animation, make some section of animation longer, some shorter. For example, we can take everything very short, but the first one gonna be pretty long. And we can see how it works. And once we do changes on this animation timeline, it changes styles right away on the styles section. So we can, once we happy with our animation, we just can copy styles and put it in our project. Let's do another example of animation. So let's open animation, it's opened. And let's launch a model on Bootstrap. So here we can see, let's open it again. We can see and we can analyze animation of the model. So it changes opacity and it transforms changing position on the web page. And we can see that opacity happens before transformation finished. We can change it and see how it works if it changes at the same time, or maybe even opacity changes after transform is done. So now you see opacity continues to increase when transform is done. So once we change this, it reflects on the style, so we can copy and paste it. Also, we can click on the name of the element, and we can see what element exactly being animated. Here, two elements being animated. One is background, like position of this model dialog element, and another is opacity of this whole layer, that container that contains this this model. Also, there is another animation. Let me actually refresh it. Something funny going on. Okay, let's launch the model. So another animation is background gets darker. There is a backdrop element, and we can see it getting darker. So we also can see that how animation works on this one. So why we have two windows for animation? One when model is moving, another one for background getting darker, because these elements have different location on the DOM of our web page, and they are located in different places, and that's why we have two places for this animation. And again, as I said, we can click on the name, and it automatically finds the element that's been animated. So this feature is pretty useful for animation analysis, changes, editing of the animation to see what elements involved in the animation. So pretty useful feature. So sorry, let's. So next dev tool we will take a look at, it's Flex Box Helper. I have an example. I have an example of Flexbox grid right here. And let's take a look at how Flexbox Helper works. So we find a container element wrapper, and it says display flex. And there is an icon with squares right here. How you know? You know that flex styles pretty complex to remember all of them, and this tool pretty handy. So you don't have to remember all the flex property, it does it for you. So you can change direction. When I change direction, it shows like flex box property, CSS property that changes it. So you can justify content as you want. You can locate it on the page as you want. For example, if you want it to stick to the top, to the bottom, or like take the full height of the wrapper. So once you do it, it changes Flexbox properties, style properties, which is pretty handy. So next tool is Shadow Box Helper tool. Let's take a look at this one. I have a website with shadow box examples. Let's inspect this element, and we have element style box shadow. Again, box shadow, pretty complex style, so you need to put many attributes to it, but there is a helper tool that helps you to design shadow pretty easily. You can increase, decrease blur of this shadow. You can change direction of this shadow. You can increase or decrease spread, so how much bigger the shadow is than the actual object. Once you're happy with your shadow, you click and you can copy paste the result to your project. Again, it's pretty useful for front-end developers and for designers. Next, it's Bezier curve editor, pretty useful one. Again, it's about animation. Bezier curve, it's about animation. I have this animated square. Let's find the actual element box that's been animated. Yeah, animation timing function. This is what's Bezier curve about. It's how animation actually works, how it like slow down in the beginning and getting fast in the end, or opposite. Right now it's linear. It means it moves with constant speed. Usually linear is not the good option because it's not like physically it's usually not possible that object moves from the start right away and stops suddenly. Usually it starts slower, then it gets in speed, then it slows down before it stops. So what I'm talking about, is in and out. So now it's going a little bit slower in the beginning and the end. So this is animation timing function, and we can change it. We can make it, for example, faster in the beginning and slow in the end. We can change it whatever we want, and we have as a result Bezier values. So once we're happy with our animation, we can take and again copy it to our project. So next one is color picker. Again, let's open this shadow box. It's pretty good example to see how you can apply color to element. We can say background color, for example, blue. Let's do color white. Okay, now we have blue background and white text. But what if we don't want exact, not just blue, we want a specific blue, but we don't know the value of it? We can click color icon. We can take picker, and for example, we want this kind of blue. We click on it, and voila, we have exact value that we want. But the beauty of this color picker, it doesn't work just inside browser. You can take any color you want from anywhere on the computer. What if we want to take this blue? Or for example, this orange. So this is pretty useful feature if you want to replicate color of something that you have on screen, but you don't know exact value of it. It helps you to get this color. Okay, next we go to section for content performance debugging tool. And first, we're gonna take a look at sensor. Sensor allows you to test a web page on device with different geolocation settings and different position of the device. For example, a phone in space. So let's take an example. I have a Google just open, and I Google time now. And I have my local time. I'm located in Port Coquitlam, BC, near Vancouver. So this is my local time. But what if I want to test this feature of the Google in a different time zone? So I can open sensors. And sensors have two parts. First is location and another one orientation. First, let's take a look at location. Let's change it to, for example, London. I need to change my actual settings in my MacBook. Okay, my MacBook doesn't allow me to change section location. Let's security and privacy. Yes, this is exactly what I want to change. Okay, I need to do authentication. So it's just sorry for a little delay. It's my security setup the way I need to enable location service in my MacBook. Oh yeah, now it works. Okay, I changed my location to London, and now it was like 10 a.m. and now it's 18:42, which current time in London. And when I go to map, I'm not located. I'm actually located in Vancouver, but Google Maps will show that I'm located in London. So why this is important? I worked in investment application, and we had a bug that like investment transaction didn't go the right date. It was going next date than it's supposed to go. And the thing, so we used this location dev tool to debug what's going on. Actually, what happened? Our customer was located in China, and he did transaction on Chinatown time, but our server was in North America, and it was different date at our location. So we had to debug what's going on, and this tool actually helped us to debug and fixed this bug. So this is location. Let's go to another example, which is orientation. So we can select custom orientation and change orientation of the phone in the space. You see there is a small JavaScript code I created to reflect sensors of the browser and position the phone the way it reads from the browser. So once I change location here, it changes location orientation in the image. So as you see, as I rotate it, it rotates the phone in my image. So why you need this? some application actually depend on orientation of the phone. For example, some games maybe, or something should change in your application once you change location of the device. So this tool helps to debug pretty easily this orientation changes. So there are a few options. You can change it to portrait, to landscape, or custom orientation. You can orientate whatever you want. Okay, this is sensors. Let's go to another tool, pretty useful one, paint flashing. Let's go to another example. So this is Google Plan application. Let's find paint flashing. To find paint flashing tool, you need to open rendering tab, and here in the first option you have paint flashing. What paint flashing does, it highlights area which been redrawn. So as you see, animation going on in each section of the website, and paint flashing highlights redrawn section. Also, if I do hover over of these buttons, animations happens, and again, paint flashing highlights this animation. Why it's important? Here it's fine. Animation is intended. Here it doesn't affect performance of the website. But let's go to website I was working on. It's realtor.com. And let's enable paint flashing here. This application is written on React, and paint flashing helps to find if some components been redrawn. When you use live hooks in React application, what can happen? It's like if some event happens, some components been redrawn redundant quantity of times. So you can debug it with paint flashing. For example, what happens if I open this section, open houses? So it opens small section, and what's supposed to happen? It's only one section should be redrawn, but you see it highlights almost the whole page. What it means, once I open this component, creates an event, and all the other components being redrawn, which is not good for performance. So it probably needs to be investigated and see what's going on. On the same page, I can show a good example of redrawn and React optimization. For example, this similar homes. Once I open this home, it shows me similar homes that I can take a look, and there is an arrow, and I can scroll to left and right. And you see almost no paint flashing happens once I do it, because it's been pre-rendered behind the scene, and it doesn't really redraw or re-render components once I do it. So this is a good example. So this is paint flashing. It helps to see if some section of the page being redrawn, re-rendered. Pretty useful feature. Next feature is frame rate stats. It shows what's frame rate on the web page. Let's open it. On the left, you can see, so it's also on rendering tab. This is force option, and it shows what frame rates is how with what frame rates the website is rendered on the page. The best practices says that you always want your frame rates be higher than 60. If it's lower than 60, the website can look sluggish a little bit. And when you use complex animation or some 3D animation, you need to take a look at this value and make sure it doesn't go below 60. So next, probably my favorite tool is Lighthouse tool. Let's see how it works. Let's open it. Lighthouse. Okay, what Lighthouse does? It's actually analyzes the web page or your application and gives you pretty detailed report about your performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO optimization, and if your web page is progressive web app or not. You can analyze desktop version or mobile version. So let's do analysis. Let's analyze our website. Okay, there is some security feature on the realtor.com. It actually thinks we're gonna hack it. Let's disable it and let's do a new report. So it takes some time, like few seconds, to complete analysis and render the report. Okay, now our report is ready. So what we can say about a realtor.com site? So it gives for each section, it gives score. For example, performance is 48, pretty bad. It can be improved. Accessibility 85, which is good. Accessibility, it's for people with disabilities or like so accessibility is pretty good. Best practices 67, can be improved. SEO optimization is pretty high, which is good, and it's understandable why realtor.com first result when you search for property. But it not just giving you scores for each section. You can actually have detailed report about what's going on, for example, with optimization. It shows you even screenshots, how it loads. If you can see it, so first screenshot, it's without image, then image loaded, and so on. So all the screenshots you can see and analyze it. And it gives some performance suggestion, what you can actually improve in the application. For example, it says reduce unused JavaScript. So it takes 10 seconds on the page to actually run the JavaScript that is not used in the web page, and it gives you example of this JavaScript files and how much memory it takes. So you can take a look at this report and do some optimization based on this report. So it also suggests enable compression for some files. It gives you a few, based on the icon, it gives you the priority of the issue. For example, a red arrow up means it's pretty high priority, square it medium priority, and circle that something that can be fixed if you have time, but actually nothing wrong if you don't fix it. it doesn't affect score that much. So the same about accessibility. There are some suggestions what can be fixed for best practices. Again, what can be done. So it's pretty useful feature to analyze your website, make some changes, and try to see what scores are improved. So it's actually good to, when you negotiate your salary, probably you can show, okay, for example, performance was 48 and now it's improved, now it's 60. It's because of my changes. So this is really nice, my favorite tool for analyzing website. Okay, next thing, not everyone knows about that you can actually capture screenshot in network tab. Let's open network tab. So this is how a regular network tab looks like. But not everyone knows that you can open network settings and you have additional 4 options for network tab, and one of them is capture screenshot. So let's reload the page and see how this looks like. Okay, as you see, there are screenshots, and you can see at what point screenshot been taken. For example, this has been taken at 379 milliseconds. And there is no image. We can open and see at what point image shows up. And we can make sure that even before image renders, the layout is not broken, which is pretty good. So why we need this feature? To make sure that sometimes websites loads pretty fast, and some broken CSS or layout, you can just miss it because it happens so fast. But when you capture screenshot, you can see what it looks like before main content even loaded. Some of your clients may have slower internet connection, and they can see broken UI before CSS is loaded, before images is loaded. So it's pretty important to take a look at this and see how it looks before image is loaded or CSS loaded. Okay, let's take a look at another feature. This is network tab throttling. So what is network throttling? It means we can decrease speed of our network to, for example, fast 3G or slow 3G. Let's do fast 3G, for example, and reload the page. And we can see that now we actually see how image loads row by row, because it happens slow because our network is slower. We can even see a slow 3G. It happens even slower now. So why you need this feature? Again, as I said, some clients may have different network connection, and we want to make sure that our website not broken and it renders correctly even in the very beginning before images loaded. Also, we can add in throttling our option. For example, we can add dial-up. Everyone remembers when internet modem was loud and very, very slow. So this is dial-up. And now we have this dial-up option. We can select it. And when we refresh, it will load site very, very slow. And we can see what's going on in network tab, what's how our content is being loaded and rendered step by step, which is sometimes pretty useful. Okay, let's do no throttling. It loads immediately. This is network tab throttling. Okay, next one is performance insights. Again, another my favorite tool that allows you to see full analysis and report about performance in your website and in your application. Lighthouse, this is tool that we looked at. It takes a look at few sections. This one is about performance only. Let's open it. One comment, performance insights. So again, it analyzes our website and creates performance report. We can do again throttling, network throttling. We just looked at. We can even select our custom we just created. Also, we can do throttling for CPU. Again, why we need it? Developers usually have pretty powerful computers, and it's important to analyze how the website works if we have 6 times slower computer, because not all our clients have like the strongest, the most powerful computer. So sometimes it's important to analyze some slower machines. So let's do analysis for this website. So again, it takes some time to make analysis and creates compile report. Okay, here it's the report is ready. So what we can see here. First, we can see layout shift analysis. Little bit layout shift happens, but it's green, not red, means it doesn't really affect search engine optimization or performance. So here we can see a network section, what's been loaded at what time on our timeline. We can see render what's going on from render standpoint, and what JavaScript tasks been launched. And on the right side, we have summary, and we have some suggestion. For example, long task, we can click on it and see some advices what to do, optimize function in this task. Let's see a better example. So it shows you duration of this task, but it's supposed to highlight what exact task takes this. Oh yeah, you see blue border around. It means this task on the main JavaScript file takes 2% of load time, and it suggests to optimize this function. So pretty useful, very useful feature for optimization, performance optimization of your website. And next, probably the last one. Yes, the last one, we will take a look at memory profile. This feature is very useful to see if you have some memory leaks or some heavy objects in your web page that takes more memory than it's supposed to take. Memory. Let's search for memory. Okay, and here we can see like all resources and how much memory each resource takes on this website. And we can create a snapshot. Let's take a snapshot of this site. Yes, it creates a snapshot. And here we have a full snapshot of memory used by this website. And we can see percentage of memory taken by each object. For example, like overall, it has that many objects in JavaScript, and it takes 5% of its memory. We can open and see what objects, what events triggers this object to take memory, and so on. And we can filter object. For example, we want to see if we use date object on this website and how many times it's used. For example, on this web page, it's been used 851 times. It takes 40 kilobytes of memory altogether, and we can open and analyze each of this object and how much memory it takes. So it's pretty useful, as I said, to see if you have some memory leaks. It's usually, if you have some memory leaks, it would be on the top somewhere here. Again, for performance, pretty useful feature. Okay, we just looked at some features that I use on my day-to-day basis. Of course, DevTools is much bigger than just only those features that I showed. For example, I can open performance, another performance tab. This one analyzes, again, it's analyzes performance, like performance insights, but it analyzes more data. But I think performance insights has more user-friendly interface, and it's easier to find a performance problem than in this one. This one takes a long time to compile. It's just an example of another web tool features that we didn't take a look at. So how to track all the updates of features and new DevTools that Chrome develops. There is a, let's stop compiling of this performance. Okay, so it compiled some performance data. As you see, it's not really user-friendly, but you can see everything in one timeline, what's going on in JavaScript in this website. You can click on each function call and see at what moment it's been called on the website. Okay, about tracking updates. there is a section in DevTools, what's new. If we open what's new, it shows briefly links where we can track all the updates and see information about the newest sorry, something up with my connection or something. Not sure why it's been interrupted again. Okay, but I showed all the DevTools that I wanted to show. It's just a quick conclusion. If we want to see all the updates, we open what's new and we can click learn more, and it shows documentation about all the version of Chromium engine and Chrome browser and what's new in each version, and even like video files. We can open new YouTube page that explains all the new features. If we click on YouTube, it navigates to Google Chrome developers channel. The origin private. This is pretty useful channel. For example, for me, it's easier to get new information from video files or audio. I just open it and see what's going on with Chrome browser. So I recommend to subscribe to this Google Chrome developers channel to see new updates. The Origin Private File System API is now available for Android. Another source of documentation of knowledge about from developer tools you can find on developer.chrome.com docs devtools. It's documentation about devtools with search bar. You can find overview. What's going on? So this here the search bar. For example, if you want to find documentation about performance insight, you open search for it, open, and here you can see all documentation about performance insights and read about it in more details than my quick overview. So this is pretty useful resource to get knowledge about new features and new DevTools. So this is pretty much it. YouTube, Chrome DevTools documentation I just showed. Okay, thank you for your attention. Sorry for a few interruptions and probably my bad connection on the internet. So again, my name is Pavel Terenian. This is my profile. If you're interested to connect in me and ask some question or look at my profile, please do. And if you have any question, please ask. maybe we have some time to answer some questions. So if no questions, again, thank you for your time and thank you for being with me on this workshop, and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.